told me the last time you saw, but Keith, you saw Bonzo, or you saw John Bonham.
Oh yeah, John Bonham. Yeah, John Bonham. I saw John Bonham the last time I saw John Bonham was in England. I was over there. I don't know what year it was. But before he died, I know that because he was with Keith Moon, and Keith Moon hadn't died at the time. And I went to the speakeasy late one night, and I caught them all down, and they was all drunk. And Bonzo had just bought this brand new Rolls Royce, so he's going to take me back to the hotel. I was going back. That was like 1972, I guess. And I was going back to the hotel. I was staying and I was going back to the apartment up across from Mr. Chow's. I think it was the Rolling Stones owned the apartment. I was staying there with Marshall Chess.
In London?
Yeah, in London, right? So I had gone down and hung out with them till about 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, whatever. And Bonzo is now driving me back to this place, back to this apartment, at 90 miles an hour. They all, him and Keith Moon, the best two drummers in rock and roll, as far as I was concerned, driving at 90 miles an hour on the wrong side, as far as I'm concerned, of the street, because they're on the left side. And I'm in the back, and they talking, hey, man, you know, man, we're going to do it. Man, keep your eyes on the road. They was scared the shit out of me. And it drove, man, and they kept talking, and they talking. And I said, man, look, when they stopped at a stoplight, I got out, and I tried to tell the door, you crazy motherfuckers. You're going to kill me driving that goddamn fast. He said, oh, man, get back in the car. They started driving along. I'm walking to the place. Fuck it, I'm not riding with you motherfuckers. And I'm walking to my apartment, because I can see it about 2 blocks down the way. And they said, man, get back in the car. We'll drive you up there, man. We don't want to drive fast on us, man. Fuck y'all. You motherfuckers. The headline be, y'all have an accident and kill my ass. The headline be rock and roll and some black cat got killed. So I won't get no headlines. And we laughed and joked about it. And I hadn't seen them since, but we laughed after I got back to saying I hadn't seen them since until they'd passed. I never got a chance to speak to them again. That was the last thing to me to the hotel. Bonzo was a motherfucker, boy. Classic. Bonzo was classic, man, and a great drummer. I mean, I admired this motherfucker as much as I do a lot of jazz drummers, because I played drums myself back in the days when I was a young guy. But he was a drummer from his heart, man. Sticks big as your arm, but he could play. He could play jazz, rock, anything.
You think he was one of the best,
one of the best drummers, period, that I've ever seen. And I love Philly Joe Jones, Max Roach. And I played Max Roach record for him, and he did the same solo on his when they had that big solo where he turned around. It's a 3/4, it's 6/8. Ching, 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 ching. He did the same thing that I had just got through playing for him that night in the hotel before he went to the gig. He did that same solo. That was the first time he heard the record, and he was amazed. He said, "Oh man, Max Roach is a motherfucker." He said, "Oh, that 6/8 is a bitch. It was a bitch," and he kept listening to the chain. The drum also waltzes. That's what it started out. Ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. But that motherfucker did that solo, and then he looked at me and did this, you know. He was a hell of a drummer, man. I tell you, classic. And I was in the room with me and John Paul Jones listening to James Brown and stuff. And we used to listen to music together. And I get a telephone call. We're in the hotel room together. I get a call from Peter Grant. He said, Mario, is Jones in there? I said, yeah. He said, look, man, will you tell him? I don't know how to tell him. Will you call? I just got a call from England that his father died. And I had to deliver that message to Jonesy. And you know, I didn't know what to, I just, hey man, I said, Jones, I don't know how the fuck to tell you this, man. But that was Peter. He said, if you want to cancel the show, but your father just died, you know, and if you want to cancel the show, you can cancel the show, or you can get ready to go. And Jonesy said, well, you know, man, I just spoke to him just yesterday, the other day. He can't be. I said, look, man, that's it. He just passed, so he wanted to know if you want to cancel the rest of the tour and you go back. He said, no, my father would want me to do that because his father was a musician. I'll wait till we finish the tour and then whatever. I don't know if it's till a weekend or whatever, you know. But anyway, that I had to give that message to Jonesy. I'm sure he remember that if you ever speak to John Paul Jones. I remember that. That was difficult for me to do. I didn't want to do it. I said, man, I don't know how to tell you this, but shit, you know, like, hey, I don't know how to somebody the father just passed. And he's low key, man. He said, oh yeah, you know, but we sit there and talked to him. He told me about his father and stuff, and then went to bed, went back to his room, went to bed. But he went and did the gig the next day. He didn't go to London until the weekend. And I admire that. That was strong because they was ready to stop the tour for him to go take care of that, you know. But that was some of the stuff you remember, stuff like that. more so than anything else. That's for you. You know, these cats, you got to be friends to do stuff with people like that. You know. Now, I know he would never forget that. I'll never forget that. I can't forget it till the day. 'Cause I never told two people I ever had to tell people that father died. Him and another girl that I knew. Never on the telephone. That's the only time in my life, man. That was heavy. And his father taught him all the stuff about music. You know, his father was a musician and everything. And Jones used to be a studio musician in England before he played with Led Zeppelin. Him and
Jimmy Page.
Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
That's how they were good friends before. That's about it, man.
You, yeah. I mean, I know the one thing you turned them on to a lot of music.
Oh yeah, they turned me on to something. I turned them on to something. You know, I played like a lot of records. I always played records, you know.
For the
For the band, we would play it. Jonesy hit me to a lot about music because I used to listen to James Brown with him. He used to listen to James Brown. We used to listen. And he said, "Man, you know everything. It's all repetitions. They play everything over and over." He said, "Listen to it, and that's the truth. Listen to James Brown is repetition. Everything repeat." No, whatever. He said, "Man, it's difficult to play that same shit. Drum, pop, pop, whatever it is." And you listen to it, man, it's repeating the same thing over and over. That's where all the hip-hop cats got the sampling shit from, because it's so repetitious. And so they took a little one bar out of it, and they sampled that little bar, and they just loop it. But James didn't loop it. He just played it over and over, you know. And they have the same thing. Then they go to the bridge, back to the rump, you know. And Jones hit me to that.
And I guess Page was kind of, you know, in another, you know, he heard things like
Oh,
Beethoven almost here.
Yeah, him and Jones too.
Yeah, I guess they both.